Well, how are you, Lionhearts? Good morning. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, back with another episode of Something to Show You Today. It's a lovely day here in Southern California, and I know yesterday I ended the vlog by kind of teasing you that I was going to go back and show you something I had seen recently that I didn't realize what I was looking at. And I totally fully intended to do it, and I still could do it, but I'm not going to do it. And the reason is because as soon as I posted that video last night, Leonard sent me a text message and said, since we didn't make it to Velveteria this past weekend, we're going to drive all the way back up there and see it this weekend. And it dawned on me, since you were the one that reminded me of what that was, see, the thing was is I had never actually seen a full photo to know what I was looking at. And when he pointed it out, and then he said he was going to be up here on Saturday, I said, you know, why don't I save that for Saturday? And since you reminded me of what that was, we'll go do it together. So we're actually going to give that to you on Saturday. But I also wanted to tell you guys, I don't know if you've seen it online yet, but yesterday if you happened to be at Disneyland and you were lucky enough to be in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, Johnny Depp was sitting in place of his figure and he was scaring people and having fun with people. And I just think as an actor, that is the coolest thing you can do. Tom Hanks did it when, you know, Forrest Gump came out on the Paramount lot. But I think the earliest origination that I recall ever hearing about that was Vincent Price did that. When he got his very first wax figure in a museum, they did him from House of Wax as Professor Henry Jared, sitting in the wheelchair. And he decided the first day to sit in that wheelchair and spook people. And that's kind of been one of those things that a lot of people have done the same move in wax museums since then. Johnny Depp has done this before at Disneyland where he sits in there. And it's a cool thing to do. It gives people a memory that lasts a lifetime. And you better believe if I were ever in anything memorable, I would certainly try and arrange for things like that to happen whenever I could. Either way, I'm not to that point. I'm not known for anything other than vlogging. So if you're going to ever want to see me pop out of anywhere, it's probably going to be with a camera in my hand. So let's get this day started. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now! Well, the Lord of the Land did not come home last night. By the time I finally got wrapped and got out of there, my buddy Sam, who had Jaw over there hanging out with Pollyanna all day, he had 2 sets at the Improv, and then he had to do a podcast, and by the time he was going to be done, we just agreed it would take too long to arrange to go pick him up and everything, so I'm going to get him back today. But I was looking up at this poster on my wall, and I'm sitting here thinking, I've had that on that wall for like probably 5 years now. I think it's time to replace it with something at least from within the last 100 years. Maybe we should make that the cutoff. Once it's over 100 years old, it gets removed. So I think I found a ample replacement for 10 bucks on eBay. I think I'm going to replace that thing. And even though it's not posted yet, I actually did record the thank you video last night, but I recorded it on this thing and it was 12.5 minutes long, and I've tried to transfer it, and in order to transfer from your camera to your phone, you have to do it through their Wi-Fi, and when I go on their Wi-Fi, it pretty much won't let me do anything else except for receive text messages. So I have to find a time that I can transfer everything where I don't really need my internet, and the couple of times that I did it, I tried to do it last night. Before I went to bed, I tried to do it while I was sleeping, and then I tried to do it when I woke up, and every time, for some reason, it keeps stopping partially way through. So since it's happened 3 times, I'm just going to take that as a sign to delete that and re-record it. So I'll probably re-record that tonight, and I'll post it. I do apologize, but I try and take life at signs, and when there's a sign that something won't post after 3 times, dump it. All right, it's only like 8:25 in the morning. I woke up at like 6:30, started watching my YouTube, doing all that stuff, and now I'm realizing what it's like without having Jaw around, and I'm bored to death already. I didn't want to go hiking because I don't know when Sam's gonna wake up, and that guy does like a podcast every day, almost literally. So I wanted to make sure I was around in the neighborhood if he woke up and wanted to drop Jaw off like with 20 minutes notice. And since I'm gonna be working out in Thousand Oaks, a lot of the times when I work those kind of events at people's houses, I end up putting on like 15,000 steps over like a 7-hour work day. Plus, a lot of them live on a hill or with hills in their backyard, and we're usually walking around the property. So long story short, I figured waiting on Sam and that I'll be getting a lot of steps in later, I didn't want to do it. But last night I told you guys I was gonna go buy Ja's birthday cake, and I tried converting that thank you video over for so long that the place was closed when I went over there to buy it. Got over there at like 9:35 and they closed at 9:30, so I'm gonna try and do it now, but I failed to look at what time they wake up, or what time they open up today, so it's like 8, like I said, 8:25. They may not even be open yet, so I'll go check it out. I don't really know what I want to vlog yet. All the ideas I have are kind of in this area, like Studio City, like the early part of the valley, over here, Pasadena. But since I'm going all the way out to like Thousand Oaks, I'm thinking I should vlog something in that part of the valley and get the best use out of the gas that I have to burn going out there anyway. So I have a pretty good idea, and I think I know what I'm gonna do. I see an open sign. Yes. Okay. This is what I'm getting Ja for his birthday cake. He loves these things. These no-hide salmon shoes. He can take down one of those like in like an hour or two. He'll sit and work on that thing forever. Lick, 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 lick. So I think we'll get him 1 or 2 of those things. They're pretty expensive, like $7 a piece. And I think I want to get him some of this too. He really likes dehydrated food. He likes the soft stuff, so I think I'm gonna get him this real meat. I kind of wanted to get him one of these harnesses, but they don't have anything in his size. They have extra small, large, and extra large, and he needs a medium, usually. Well, it looks worn out to me. He's home and he's tired, and looks like he had a long day of playing yesterday. What do you guys think? Taking this joker out for a walk before I have to go work. I'm gonna go vlog on the way. I think what we're gonna go see today is Fort Laurel. It's another one of those heavy windy days. We were just walking across a driveway and Ja about blew away with the wind. Carrying all that crap over top of those vehicles, not for me, folks. All right, I'm hitting the road. Well, today's vlog is on Fort Laurel. Fort Laurel was Stan Laurel's home, this big compound out in the West Valley from the 1920s till the end of the 1930s. And he basically had moved out here because he was always getting in trouble. He was always in the tabloids, and he had been busted cheating on his wife. He had even, when he got married the second time, had even taken his first wife on the honeymoon with him. Very peculiar situation. He would have homes for other girlfriends, and if you guys remember when I did the Knickerbocker Hotel, he was known for staying there constantly because in between wives, he was always getting booted out and getting sent over there. Now, the property is no longer here, but right here we're 20215, and the address next to it, this 1 acre lot was where Stan Laurel had this compound. He actually built a compound here that was 7 feet high and 1 foot thick, and he did it himself because he was like an amateur mason. And he and Oliver would kind of pool ideas out here every once in a while, and he would use this as kind of his writing workshop. Now, when he and Oliver Hardy, who was always known as Babe, when he and Babe would make movies, they were opposites. So that kind of worked out to their advantage because Stan wanted to have a lot of say in how the short films would be edited and how the comedy would be perceived and how they would try different things. And Oliver really, no offense to him, everybody kind of agrees he just wanted to put in a day's work, and then he wanted to take off and go play poker, or he wanted to go play golf. And so what would happen is Stan would usually take the footage that they would film during the day, maybe multiple takes, take it to a small theater somewhere and play it for unsuspecting fans and gauge their reaction and just see how it was. But he would also have his writing meetings out here with like the writers for their movies, like Harry Langdon and a few other people. And his daughter would say like she always hated the meetings because everybody would sit out in Stan's office and they would smoke cigarettes and smoke cigars, so they just stunk up the whole house. But I actually found a picture of Stan and Ollie out front of this place, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, the reason that Stan ended up actually moving out of here is because his wife filed to get him evicted. Basically, I think she got like a restraining order or something against him. but it was right here. And when he finally moved out of there, the head of Sony bought the house, and he lived here throughout like the 70s. And then at some point they demolished the whole compound and put up some houses here. They've widened the roads and everything, but what an interesting history. I mean, Laurel and Hardy were like the staples of silent movies. And just to think that like right here for like 20 years, or like the better part of 10, 15 years, that right there would have been like his fun house. That would have actually, Oliver Hardy had his own estate and he called it the Fun House, and I'm gonna go do that at some point as well. But I just wanted to show you guys this. I thought that was such a cool part of history, that he moved out here to kind of escape all the media and the tabloids, and they started referring to this as Fort Laurel. So he actually built that whole wall outside of it and put the Fort Laurel sign pretty much right there where that tree would have been. An interesting thing to note is that like throughout the entire time that Laurel and Hardy worked together, which was like over 25 years, they never not got along. They were always friends. They were friends till the end. And I think it was partially because Stan had this like need to be creative, and even though Hal Roach directed a lot of the early stuff, Stanley would have a lot of say in how it was edited, how they would try different scenes. And one of the great stories that I heard was that Stan would even stipulate, like, he was like, if they had to do a scene where Ollie was really upset or he was perturbed or something, Stan would wait till like later in the day to film it, because he knew that, like I told you guys, Oliver Hardy was kind of like a 9-to-5 guy, and he really just wanted to do his scenes and get out of there. So Stan would kind of postpone the scenes till later in the afternoon just to get that extra bit of anger in the shots. And if you watch him, you can definitely see where he got that. Such a cool place. I mean, I know it's not there anymore, but to know that that bunker where he would have created like some of the most memorable Laurel and Hardy movies of all time, all that stuff from the 20s and 30s, and they were a prime example of like why comedy teams and comedy groups ended up having to kind of solidify and sign contracts together, because throughout the whole time they were with Hal Roach never had them on the same contract together. It was actually smarter of him to do it that way, because whenever one's contract would be up, then the other one would still be under contract, so it kind of put him over a barrel. And eventually Oliver and Stanley, what they would end up doing is they ended up getting one of their contracts created so that both contracts would end at the same time, and then they would be free to explore other options. And right around that time, Hal Roach was feeling like they were getting too old, and that was basically what happened. They ended up taking off and going to Universal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm right at the corner of where Stan Laurel lived. Isn't that an air raid siren? One of those old, kind of like bomb warning sirens or something? Somebody fill me in. Kind of looks like it. All right, we're in a whole new world. We're heading to Thousand Oaks. I always kind of wanted to come exploring out here in Thousand Oaks because Sparky Anderson had a house here, and so did Pete Rose. But I think they were in gated communities. It's actually their training facility, like in the off season. That's what we're doing. Pretty cool. The actual Rams. Beautiful night here in Thousand Oaks. I always love that part of the day when the moon just starts peeking out.